you surf for a while, you may have heard some maps referred to as smooth maps or tech maps. You may have noticed this yourself. Some maps are noticeably smoother than others. Today we're going to cover each of the map types and talk about the theory behind map categorization. First, smooth versus tech. Generally, maps are either smooth or technical. They can be both, but it's pretty rare. Smooth maps feature few sharp angles or flicks and force surfers to focus on the fundamentals, air strafing without losing speed, entering ramps parallel to their surface, etc. Surf Summit, Surf Zoom Boys, and Surf Highlands are all examples of smooth maps. Tech maps, on the other hand, feature spins, sharp or difficult flicks, and other niche elements. The running definition of a technical element is one that demands a specific setup and execution to complete. Surf Fruits, Surf Benevolent, and Surf Royal, famous for the royal spin on the last stage, are all technical maps. Surf Fruits has tech elements like the lemon on S2 and the start on stage 3. Surf Benevolent is made up entirely of ramp strafes, a technical skill that is difficult to pick up and can take hundreds of hours to master. Next, both smooth and tech surf have subcategories. However, things tend to get a bit messy at this level. Interpretation is subjective, and a shit map to one surfer might be a top-tier surf map to another. Smooth surf has two subcategories, unit and Maxvel. This one's pretty simple. Maxvel maps are intended for you to hit max velocity multiple times. At max velocity, generally 3,500 units, going lower on a ramp is unnecessary and will lose you time. Unit surf maps instead focus on generating and conserving units from start to finish. The best examples of this distinction are Cyberwave and Utopia. On Cyberwave, you never reach the max velocity, so every unit counts. Top surfers literally fight over 10 or 20 units, sometimes less, as those units will affect the entirety of their runs. On Surf Utopia, if surfed the intended way, you will reach max velocity multiple times throughout the run. Top surfers instead focus on perfect cuts, low angles, and a little gimmick where you can actually break the max velocity. Smooth surf is simple. Do you reach the Maxvel sometimes? If yes, Maxvel. If not, unit. Tech surf is a bit more complicated. In addition to normal tech maps, there are unit tech, gimmick, and shit maps. Tech maps contain technical elements but have low unit requirements. They simply require proper setup and execution. As mentioned before, Benevolent, Fruits, and Royal are all normal tech maps. Surf Legendary and Surf Pandemonium also fit into this category, as well as many of the maps from the early days of surf. You might hear someone refer to these older tech maps as old school maps, but not all tech maps are old. Surf Shambles, for example, is actually a modern take on this older motif. Unit tech maps differ in two ways. First, they have unit requirements before technical elements, and second, their technical elements tend to be milder in difficulty. Surf Technique is the quintessential unit tech map. While the map is difficult, none of the tech is hard on its own. If the distance between the ramps on this map are reduced, it might be considered Tier 3 or even Tier 2. Surf Sinister is similar. Most of the large gaps have minimum unit requirements, including the famous last stage. Gimmick maps have niche or unique technical elements. The last stage of Surf Syria again features a gimmick. Instead of simply bumping your head, the ramp forces you to perform an extremely tight 360 or b-hop the spine of the first ramp. Surf Blackheart, also known as Surf Revolution Bonus 3, is the quintessential gimmick map. It features insane spins and a completely unique style. Generally, these maps don't teach you transferable skills, but themselves require significant technical knowledge. As a result, if you're a newer surfer, you should probably avoid these kinds of maps. Lastly, shit tech. These maps are terrible. Don't surf them. This includes Surf Gauntlet, Ghostbusters, Y, Arg My Eyes, Fruits 2, and Getting Harder, as well as many others. These maps are extremely long, with the exception of Arg My Eyes, and are filled with poorly designed and frustrating technical elements. They're generally shitty all around. Okay, so if we mapped out all the categories, it would look something like this. However, there are even debates about whether tech as a category exists entirely. Some top surfers, such as Krealington, have argued that as surfers increase their tech skills, they focus less and less on the tech and more on the units they're generating. If you were to, for example, master the royal spin, then you would shift your focus from the spin itself to conserving as many units as possible. Thus, the smooth surfer and tech surfer are theoretically doing the same thing, generating and conserving units. I think this is an extremely interesting and compelling argument, but I really wasn't sure how to interpret it when I came across it on the KSF Discord. Two things came to mind. First, based on Kramali's argument, only for top servers with a prior smooth tech distinction begin to break down. This means for the majority of people, the category is still useful. They're still going to be bad at the royal spin. Second, it seems sort of absurd to claim that Surf Royal and Surf Utopia are within the same category of surf map. They exist within different themes of surf entirely and demand a different skill set. Should we consider smooth and tech maps as existing on a spectrum where some maps have more technical elements than others, but all maps essentially being smooth? And what about all the weird outliers? Surf Love Tunnel is a smooth unit map until you hit Maxvel at the very end and have to perform a gimmick. Surf Amaro is mostly smooth with some pretty demanding spins. Does low ceiling bullshit equal a tier 6 tech map? What if we took Cyberwave and stuck a royal spin in the middle? Would that be smooth tech, unit gimmick maps? Like what? To wrap up, I think these categories should be considered attributes rather than strict categories. A map can have smooth, technical, gimmick, and shit elements within them. At the end of the day, map types are only useful if they provide us with meaningful information. Think about your favorite maps. Do they tend to fall into one category rather than another? You can focus on that type of map. It might be your strong suit. You may also want to consider branching out to a new type of surfing to broaden your skill set. Regardless, I hope this video is informative and helps you pick better maps. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them down in the comment section below, especially if you want a topic covered that you haven't seen anywhere else online. I'll do my best. Anyways, good luck sliding those triangles.